Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. We're live on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra. In Kumasi, it's on Love 99.5 FM and over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. We're on Dreams FM in Bolgatanga, Radio Max in Takrade, Amenuveve FM in Apawu, ATL FM in Cape Coast, and Kekeli Radio in Ho. You can go digital on Facebook, Spotify, and myjoyonline.com app. In this edition,
and see the reaction of the police and the delegate pushing them, shoving them. So this is the chaotic situation here at the Prince of Peace coup.
Chaos, arrests and missing names in constituency albums mar NPP's constituency executive election in part of Greater Accra and Ashanti regions on day one of the 5-day activity.
About 40% of the people have been removed from the album, of which the people are all agitating.
My name is Ambrose Otuoya Bibi, a son of a man. Yes, internal politics. Look at the police around. About 50 police personnel.
We hear from the police, which says it will ensure the process is not disrupted.
We check the accreditation card from the gate, and then we allow you entry. You come, you join the queue, you vote, and then that's it.
I'll take you around the trouble spots and bring you the very latest. And with just 3 days to the implementation of taxes on electronic transactions in Ghana, Member of Parliament's Communications Committee says GRA systems are not ready and could spark confusion at mobile money vending points.
I can speak on authority as at close of day, as late as 11 p.m. last night, when he says all the APIs have been given to the EMIs, electronic money issuers, is incorrect. It's not true. At least 2 APIs are outstanding.
We'll also hear why he believes there can be confusion in churches and mosques when the levy takes off on Sunday.
The law says that tithes, offertories, and zakat are tax exempt. So how do I go and hold a merchant SIM and pay taxes for tithes and offertories and zakat? These are the complications.
We have sports.
Well, the Ghana Football Association hints the implementation of VAR in Ghana football may take some time.
And much later. Learning by imagination will tell you how lack of science facilities has forced schools in the Bono East region to present students with no science training for the National Science and Maths Quiz.
Combination of compounds. We were supposed to do it practically, but anytime that they say anything like that, then we imagine.
The students you saw there are our students. In fact, it was a very Herculean task.
We have more as the APSA Zonal Championships begin today. That's and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa. Apawu, many thanks for choosing us. As always, we're your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism.
You can see the reaction of the police and the delegate pushing them, shoving them, and the vehicle equally moving slowly.
Chaos, arrests and missing names in the album have characterized the ongoing governing NPP's constituency elections in parts of the country. 5 people, including the constituency organizer and youth leader, are behind bars and have been arrested for inciting violence in the Okainkwe South constituency. The allegation is that over 40% of delegates had their names missing from the album, which was only made available last night. You can hear some of them who claim their names were taken out.
This man card, me kwaya exhibition no abone ba na kwaya exhibition me ko me dinim as we are maintain say minim so mon te brofo maintain na omo mena na matemase me fight for my right me mama to aba na wa na no china wala to dabi ya mama to
me na me deputy woman organizer for the constituency and I hear me free I've worked very hard for the party since 92 no na so we me free with the NDC ni be replacing ya is it fair
you are legend say omo dem go album.
I know one. Yeah, I didn't replace him, not in the fear. Yeah, I didn't replace him, not in the fear.
We know them.
Well, the constituency organizer and youth leader were among these 5 persons that were arrested by the police for disrupting the process. They've been speaking to my colleague, Chrissy Parker-Wilson.
The right thing must be done. I've been organizer for 8 years. I know the integrity of this constituency. You can't allow the NDC people to infiltrate in our album, of which I know them. And the people are here agitating. I'm just telling them they should calm down. The elections we were told that the elections will come on 30th. So why is it that the elections are coming on this Thursday that no one is aware? That's what all of them are agitating.
But you held the leg of a police officer.
No, were you there?
I saw you. I mean,
you saw me. You saw me.
One of the police officers were really.
And the driver was also driving on us. Do you want me to die? If I have to die, I have to die with somebody.
But you have to work hand in hand with the Ghana Police Service.
Not a problem. You are condoning an illegality. So you know the truth. Why don't you speak the truth?
And what is the truth?
The truth is about 40% of the people have been removed from the album, of which the people are all agitating. As an organizer, I have to calm them down, of which we're all standing there. You say you saw it. The people said the car will not allow, of which I was there telling them to. And all of a sudden, the car moved.
Do you regret your actions?
It's not about regression. It's about making sure that the illegality should stop.
Old album. We all agree that we are going to maintain the old album. But now, things has changed. In the first place, the police did not respect the law because we served them an injunction, and a copy was shown to the commander. But he still insisted that he is going to make sure the election is held today. So in the first place, the police didn't respect the law.
You've been arrested. Do you regret your actions?
My regretting for exercising my never. My name is Ambrose Otuoya Bibi, a son of a man. So when yet to Abaman another dankwa. Just internal politics. Look at the police around. About 50 police personnel.
You heard the constituency organizer and youth leader of Okankwe South interacting with my colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson. He's still live on the ground. He joins us with details of what exactly is happening. Kwesi Parker-Wilson, what can you report as we speak?
Emefa, for our listeners, they should know that calm has returned to Okankwe South constituency, precisely the Bubuashi Peace International School. As we speak, over 120 delegates have voted, they've cast their ballot. The process is quite simple. You enter, you take the ballot paper, and then, when you enter the voting center, you take the ballot paper, and then you go and cast your ballot. I must say that about 5 persons were earlier arrested. Now, just about 10 minutes ago, the police quicked them away. They are told that they'll be processing them for court. I've been speaking to the divisional commander for Kaneshi District, ACP Kumi, who is in charge of this election.
We'll be able to bring the few security challenge that we had earlier on under control, and then the voting has started. The delegates, from what we've been told, have accreditation. They've been given some form of accreditation cards. And therefore, what we do is we check the accreditation card from the gate, and then we allow you entry. You come, you join the queue, you vote, and then that's it.
So all the people here have accreditation with their cards. Is that what it is?
Yes, they all have.
I see. But I realize that in the midst of the chaos, you arrested some people. How many have you arrested officially?
For now, it's a security situation. The crowd are still outside there. I don't want to get them agitated, so I'll keep that one to my chest for now.
But can you assure the viewers and those who are home, perhaps who want to stay away from the trouble and later come and catch the ballot, that there is peace here at Okankwe constituency?
You are a witness to what we've been able to do so far, and the situation is very calm. And anybody who is supposed to cast his or her vote at the Prince of Peace School within the Okankwe South constituency, that person is welcome, and we are prepared to give the person the necessary security support for him or her to cast his or her vote freely and then go back to his or her workplace or the premises.
So that's the Kaneshi Divisional Police Commander. They're interacting with you, Parker. So earlier you were telling me about how many persons have already voted?
Yeah, so just about 120 people. I just confirmed with the EC. About 120 delegates have voted so far. They have about 850 delegates expected to go through the process this morning. Now, because of the large numbers, the EC just a while ago, just about 5 minutes ago, set up a new polling center for the delegates so that they can speed up the process. The process is to end around 3 p.m. But Emefa, just give me 2 minutes. Let me engage the AC district officer, Mr. David Chenry here. I said earlier when we were entering, you struggled to enter because the people were blocking your vehicle. You are the one driving. What do you make of what happened there?
It was a sad moment, and in fact, I didn't even know what to say. But thank God we entered. Even though I had some few things into my car, I thank the Lord that we entered with nobody getting injured.
So all your personnel are safe?
They are very safe. Very, very safe.
Were they shocked by the situation? Were they traumatized? I mean, what were some of them telling you because of the situation?
No. They've been through this for some time, so they were never traumatized. I think we are all. You can see that we are all well, prepared for this, and everything is going on perfectly.
Right. Thank you very much, Emefa. That's David Chenry, the district officer for Okankwe South, who is supervising over the election here this afternoon.
Thank you very much. That's Kwesi Parker-Wilson giving us a situation at Okankwe South. And just so you know, we have 8 pictures or live videos of that incident that occurred earlier today on all our social media platforms. Also on myjoyonline.com, you can catch it. But let me take you to the Ashanti Regional Capital now, where the election started with chaos in the Subing constituency as some aspirants for executive position in the NPP moved to stop the election. They accused the party's leadership of breaching internal processes to hold the delegates conference. Now, aspiring chairman Mark Che says the date for the election was set in less than 24 hours, denying them a voters register.
Because this is an election that we understand there's an injunction against this operation, the election exercise today. Okay, how do we go? Knowing very well that there is a law of the land, the law of the land is telling us not to go on with the election. How? As I stand here, okay, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I mean, when the law of the land, is in place, how do you challenge it? No, you have to follow the process, okay? So if you ask about my reservation about it, number one, I have to speak about the law, okay? It is in place, and I think it must be exercised. Other things concerning the election, everything hasn't gone well since this exercise started. From the coordinators, okay, there are a lot of wranglings and it's very shameful.
Do you have an album?
I don't have an album, okay? As a contestant for the for chairmanship, okay? I don't have an album, okay? You go through all the process, and then we give you 1 day, okay? Yesterday, there was a meeting. They called that meeting emergency meeting. What emergency meeting was that? The emergency was we have to hold the elections tomorrow, okay? I mean, we're creating the grounds to go back to opposition, all right? And it's very hard.
He also told us earlier that a meeting to address the concerns of these delegates ended inconclusively.
In fact, yesterday at the meeting, last night at the meeting, I was very sad. I was very, very sad. And I felt very shame. It was a very shameful meeting, all right? To have a rep from nationals, this woman claims she is representing the interests of the national, okay? NPP national headquarters says we should conduct elections tomorrow. Looking at me, okay? I mean, very shameful, very shameful. But the reason that gave me not to talk was when we started the meeting, okay? We stood up for prayer and I led the prayer, okay? I led the prayer.
Well, that's an aspiring chairman there, Mark Che, interacting with us. Let's go live on the ground. Anaya Ojima is also monitoring the situation, especially from Subing for us. Joins us with details. Anaya, what's the situation there at Subing? Has the issue of the voters' album been addressed?
So before the election, the police had to call all the agitated members, put them together in a meeting and speak to them. At the meeting, they were able to resolve some of the issues, but some of the people who are contesting this election are not happy about the resolution, but they went ahead to conduct the election. At the moment, the election is on and intermittently there are some people who will raise some concerns, chaos will break out, and the police are heavy here, and these policemen will come in and calm tempers. Presently, elections are still ongoing. We are waiting for the process to end and the ballots be counted.
Well, what about other areas in the region where the election is also taking place?
So far, from the monitoring we've been doing, places like Malaysia South are conducting their elections. And the last time we conducted our checks there, things at Malaysia South were very calm.
And that's my colleague Nanaya Ojima there. And we're told that it's been peaceful in some parts of the country also, in spite of some of the situations that we've been reporting. Let's get updates from the Western region, Upper East and the Northeast region. Ina Thalia Kwanza is in the Western region, joins us on the line. Ina, what can you say about the process so far?
Yes, Emefa. So for the Western region today, there are a few West constituency as conducting the election, and it's expected that 848 delegates would vote. It was held at Sematters, and then so far it has been smooth. Unlike other places, what we've heard, it has been very smooth in the Western region. Other constituencies are expected to also vote on Monday.
So that's the situation in the Western region with Ina Thalia Kwanza. We'll head to the Upper East region. Albert Story has also been reporting about some calm in the area. Northeast region, Ilyas Sotanko will also tell us what she's been witnessing so far. Yesterday, we know that the Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the NPP identified a number of flashpoints, including the Dom Kwabenya constituency, but they are not voting today. We heard some aspirants raise concerns about their names being expunged from the voters register because they are supposed to be faithful of the absentee MP, Sarah Adjoasafo, is an area we're keeping our eye on as well. And much later, we'll hear from the Director of Elections for the NPP, Evans Nimako, on all the initial monitoring that we've been bringing you. There's more on myjoyonline.com. We turn our attention to some other stories now here on the Midday News. And with just 3 days to the implementation of taxes on electronic transactions in Ghana, in spite of that injunction notification, Member of Parliament Communications Committee, Sam George, is claiming that GRA systems are not ready. Starting on Sunday, all electronic transactions will be subject to a 1.5% of the value of transactions unless certain transactions classified as exempt. But Mr. Sam George says the GRA is not ready. He spoke on the Super Morning Show today.
I can speak on authority as at close of day, as late as 11 p.m. last night, when he says all the APIs have been given to the EMIs, electronic money issuers, is incorrect. It's not true. At least 2 APIs are outstanding. Critical amongst the 2 is the reversal API. Now, why is that critical? They have admitted at the last technical meeting that because all the robustness tests have not been done for the system, there's a possibility of downtimes where when you place a call to the API to do all the checks before a tax is applied or not applied, they have admitted that there will be downtimes sometime, and it's possible that you will not be able to get the checks done in real time. The decision of the GRA is that when that situation arises, go ahead and apply the tax. So if the person was sending 50 Ghana cedis, for example, and is exempt, or the person is doing a bank transfer below the threshold of 20,000 and is exempt, if you call the API and there's a downtime, go ahead and apply the 1.5%, even though that person is exempt. And then subsequently, when the system comes back online, we will do a reconciliation and then do a reversal of the 1.5 that was charged.
Now, he also says issues of e-levy taxation in churches remains unresolved, just 3 days to the implementation.
The tithes and offertories and zakat in the mosque, right now you pay online, you can pay using mobile money. Now, the exemptions that have been given have not been given for churches. So, now are they going to say, and in a conversation that came up, the suggestion was made that the churches should go and register a merchant SIM. Now, if a church registers a merchant SIM, you have said that a merchant SIM is not basis for exemption. That merchant SIM must be held by a tax compliant person. Now the law says that tithes, offertories and zakat are tax exempt. So how do I go and hold a merchant SIM and pay taxes for tithes and offertories and zakat, which are tax exempt? These are the complications.
That's a member of Parliament's Communications Committee, Sam George, there speaking on the Super Morning Show. I'll take you back to the NPP's Delegates Conference and the election of constituency executives, this time to the Northern Region where Martina Bugri is joining us. We are learning that elections there have been cancelled at the last minute. Martina, what reasons have been given?
We are being told that they have confusion over the album to use. Now, this issue didn't start today. It started earlier this year, and we've had back and forth over which of the albums to use. There are two factions in Yendi, one group supporting the MP and the other group supporting the party chairman. And so there's been dispute, there's been routing in the constituency over what to do. And all this while they had included them to vote this morning, only for them to arrive this morning and be told that they've suspended the elections in Yendi. And they've referred the matter to the party steering committee to discuss. So a further date will be announced.
Okay. And how have executives and the delegates themselves been taking this recent development?
The delegates have expressed disappointment in the party, and they say that they are disappointed because it didn't start today. It started some months ago, and nothing has been done. They are also accusing some bigwigs in the party in Accra of machinations to favor people they say they are their candidates.
That's Martina Bugri, and of course, this is your election headquarters. Along the line, during the day, we're bringing you updates as and when on this NPP's Delegates Conference, which is supposed to be electing constituency executives. Now, let's head on to the Labour front, and the Health Services Workers Union is accusing government of deliberately dividing the front of organised labour. According to its General Secretary, the fragmented negotiations with the various labour union is creating disharmony among organised labour. The Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana, CLOCSAG, is currently on strike over the payment of the neutrality allowance. Well, this allowance has generated controversy, with some labour unions also pushing for same. We can hear from the Director of Labour Research and Policy at the TUC, Dr. Kwabna Nyakotu.
It's important that those whose rights have been suspended and who are being compensated with the neutrality allowance, we make it comprehensive. And here I have a list. The Electoral Commission, they are not supposed to do politics. Our members are there. They ought to be compensated with neutrality allowance. The National Media Commission, the National Commission for Civic Education. If I have about 36 of such institutions in the public sector that are not members of CLOSA, that are members, and in the interest of fairness, this neutrality allowance ought to apply to them, and we will make sure that it applies to them. That one, you can take my word for it.
Well, speaking on upfront, Franklin Owusu-Ansah says government must be transparent and fair with all labour unions.
From my point of view, I can see that there is an agenda by government to divide the front of workers. If the government finds that doing bits and pieces of this kind of arrangement is okay for him as an employer, let it be. When we get to the bridge, all of us will cross it. But to say that somebody is gearing up because somebody else is having an industrial action, I don't want to believe so. If the person finds something good, or any other union for that matter finds it that it is time for them to negotiate, they should go ahead and demand whatever lawfully it is theirs.
I get your point, though. There's the part where CLOSAG is already saying they're not going to be working with TUC on May 1st. That's May Day. Is Health Service Union workers going to work with TUC on May Day?
Is this the first time CLOSAG is saying they won't work with TUC? Last year, they wrote similar letter. May Day went on. And this year, May Day will come on. Let's not talk about somebody saying I'll not be part of May Day.
That's Franklin Owusu-Ansah. He's the General Secretary of the Health Services Workers Union. Meanwhile, government is set to present its payment for neutrality allowance to CLOCSAG on Friday. Their latest meeting with the National Labour Commission concluded by giving them a 2-day ultimatum to resolve all their issues. We'll hear from the Executive Secretary of CLOCSAG, Isaac Bampoado. But yesterday on Upfront, Professor Stephen Adair raised some concerns about CLOCSAG's demand for neutrality allowance.
I can demand my pound of flesh, but this is a Shylock demand of flesh. I don't think that they can take Ghanaians for a ride to say that in the first place they have to be paid. And for the government to have done that is wrong. And I think that they are taking the ordinary Ghanaian because the suffering What about the unemployed person? Are they more in need or less in need of help than the public servant? I mean, we are in a national crisis, and that life is difficult, I have no doubt at all. But for the government to say they are going to pay, actually, it's a bribery. It's the worst I can ever think of as someone who was in the public sector for 35 years and the head of the public service training institution.
Professor Stephen Adede is a former board chairman of GRA, also an economist, taking us for a quick break here on the Midday News, live on Joy 99.7 FM in Kumasi. It's on Love 99.5 FM. We've been talking about the chaos, the arrest, and the missing names, plus cancellation of elections in the ongoing NPP Constituency Delegates Conference. When we return from the break, we have sports and then learning by imagination. We'll tell you how lack of science facilities has forced schools in the Bono East region to present students with no science training for the National Science and Maths Quiz.
Combination of compounds. We were supposed to do it practically, but anytime that they say anything like that, then we imagine.
The students you saw there are our students. In fact, it was a very Herculean task.
Hello, please, am I speaking to Miss Joanna Kuma?
Yes, please.
My name is Philip and I'm calling from MTN. Someone has just sent you money and we will need you to enter your PIN number so that we can put the money in your account.
Hey,
oh dada, MTN will never ask you for your PIN. Never reveal your PIN to anyone under any circumstances. And if you are not sure, always check the number. MTN will only call you with a dedicated number, 0244 300,000. Stay safe, stay vigilant. MTN.
Many thanks for your company. Let's do sports. Very cool.
Well, earlier this year, Emefa referees manager Alex Cote hinted at the introduction of video assistant referees in Ghana football in 2023. With the number of controversial decisions by referees this season, many have called for the technology to assist referees. However, Ghana Football Association President Keto Kraku admits that a VAR would be expensive to deploy on the local scene.
Ghana is one of the leading countries who are going through the process to use the VR strategy. I know that in one or two African countries, VR is already present in their leagues, Egypt being one. But our referees manager, Alex Cote, has been in the forefront of talks with FIFA. And we are exploring the possibility of deploying the strategy here in Ghana. What is true is that the VR equipment is very expensive. But we believe in the end vision. The end vision is the work towards introducing VR. And I'm very positive that we'll find a solution to this. But one thing we have to admit is that, yes, it is very good. It is very helpful to the development of the modern game, but it is capital intensive.
We'll see whether the FA will be able to fund the much-needed VAR on the local scene, but that's the sports for now.
Well, there's this poem that we used to say when we were young. I'm sure you're very young, but it was technology, technology, technology. What a big word. You are the brainchild of astrology. Well, okay, wow. You don't know it. Well, it takes us to Tech Thursday. It's a Thursday, and it's time to talk technology. 3 undergraduate students from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology have developed a cheaper system to determine the quality of water. The system, known as WaterBits, leverages artificial intelligence to know the safety of water for human usage. Live FM's Kwesi Debra speaks with the developers for Tech Thursday.
The team comprises Esther Bwajua Bankwa and Martha Sinam Kekeli Demenya from the Computer Science Department and Gladys Obobi from the Biomedical Engineering Department. According to the developers, their focus was to offer solutions to problems in Africa, particularly SDG Goal 6, that's clean water and sanitation. They indicated that their concept was based on how the properties of water are affected when there are a high number of pollutants. These properties include pH, conductivity, dissolved oxygen concentration, biological oxygen demand, and mineral concentration. These properties can be used to determine the quality of water and hence can be used to classify the safety of water for drinking.
WaterBit is basically to solve, water quality problems. And one would ask, why is that necessary? see, these days, a lot of water bodies have been polluted because of our own human activities such as mining, and using dangerous stuff for fishing. So most of our water bodies are not consumable anymore. So we seek to solve the problem whereby scientists will have to go to take water samples, and then they'll have to do several tests on it before they get the accurate, contamination in the water.
That's for Tech Thursday, and it's a competition of intense query of the scientific knowledge of students from biology to chemistry to physics and maths. Students are to showcase what they have learned in class. What if there were no science classes at all? Well, in the Bono East region, the lack of science facilities is forcing schools to present general arts students for the 2022 edition of the NSMQ. What are the results? Manuel Cranting reports.
Sounds of jubilant supporters of Amayal Akumfi SHS, which won the final contest in the Bono East Regional Qualifiers for the 2022 National Science and Maths Quiz. This jubilation was, however, lost on several other schools which had come for the competition, like farmers with no farm inputs. The general arts students from Kwating and Koma SHS were simply no match for their counterparts from Kentampo SHS.
The training was very difficult, or it was tiring.
Jacqueline and her teammates were at a distant second with 27 points behind Kentampo SHS. But as she explains, this performance was a result of sheer imagination.
They were all theory, no practical learning. Sometimes combination of compounds. We were supposed to do it practically, but anytime that they say anything like that, then we imagine.
The students you saw there are our students. In fact, it was a very Herculean task.
Today's edition of the Midday News here on Joy99.7 FM. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am Emefa Apawu. Living Word with Pastor Mensah Otabil is up next. Have a good day.
Hello, please. Am I speaking to Miss Joanna Kuma?
Yes, please.
My name is Philip and I'm calling from MTN. Someone has just sent you money and we will need you to enter your PIN number so that we can put the money in your account.
Hey,